So, good day everyone. I am going to note the elements of design, which is lesson 3, the color and value. So, we have here the learning objectives. Distinguish the physical properties of color. Discuss the color and its basic usage. Identify the color sources. Analyze how artists present their subjects in relation to the real subject. And discuss about chiaroscuro. So we have here the colors. Ano nga ba ang kulay? An element design where human beings are most sensitive with. It arouses the most universal appreciation in art, the most expressive element among the rest. Colors affect the human emotions in direct and immediate manner. So meaning, colors plays a huge role in human interaction. We're far better able to recognize each other due to the fact that we can see in such a wide range of color. So colors differ since it deals with scientific facts and principles that apparently are exact and systematized. As what you can see, the painting above has its own color schemes that lead to the creation of its individual meaning. You have there the Tiboli Woman of Mindanao in 1999 by Bong Perez, and the Gugma in 2013 by Victor Dumagwing. A Tiboli Woman of Mindanao by Bong Perez. Bong is working as art and Japanese language professor in the University of the Philippines, Mindanao. That's why he is the one who make this Tiboli Woman of Mindanao. A color scheme is used to describe the overall selection of colors in an artwork. So how important color is? Gaano nga ba kahalaga ang kulay? Colors influence us on a few different levels. On one hand, we are conditioned socially and culturally. We mourn in black and wear white mostly in the summer. And, then, and on the other hand, our reaction is also personal, influenced by how this color is presented in our own lives. So how important color is? Color plays a vitally important role in the world in which we live. Color can sway thinking, change actions, and cause reactions. In fact, colors influence our emotions and actions. Even blind people are affected by colors. Our lives are filled with colors if we think positively. So let's proceed to the color source. Light is the very source of color. Color in its entirety is independent with light, either artificial or natural. The light coming from sun is obviously considered as the strongest source of light. So as what you can see, the light coming from sun, makukonsider natin siya na siya yung pinaka matapang na source ng light. In refraction, the light wavelength bent as it passed through a triangular glass of different angles as it is reflected through a piece of paper, producing various colors. So in color source, Newton famously claimed that there were 7 distinct colors in the spectrum and named them as red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. In short, we called it a ROY-G-BIV, which is the acronym. And it helps us to remember the colors of red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Note that to remember the 7 colors of the visible light spectrum, we should try to memorizing the abbreviation, which is the ROY-G-BIV. So let's proceed to the spectrum. Various colors are interpreted by human sense of vision as individual stripes in a narrow band, composed of major colors or pure colors such as red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. Pure colors are found within the spectrum. They represent strongest intensity, which is the brightest possible. So ang tunay na kulay ay makikita sa spectrum because they represent the strongest intensity. Siya yung nagre-representa ng strongest intensity which is the brightest color. So ano nga ba? The color of an object is the wavelengths of light that it reflects. So here the pigmentation. Pigmentation is a color quality, which is the physical property of any color, object, or its ability to absorb some color wavelength and reflect one. While pigment is a substance that also possesses a color quality that is utilized by visual artists when it comes to painting discipline. So, the pigmentation means coloring. A pigment is a material that changes the color of reflected or transmitted light as the result of wavelength selective absorption. In other words, it's a substance that appears a certain color because it selectively absorbs certain wavelength of light. Pigments can be categorized into two types, inorganic pigments and organic pigments. So what are the organic pigments? This type of pigments occurs naturally and they've been used for centuries. They're quite simple in their chemical structure. Their name organic as they contain minerals and metals that give them their color. While the inorganic pigments are generally metal, oxides, and or synthetic chemicals, some of which are very simple in composition but find wide use in paints and coatings. Previously, the inorganic pigments were all naturally occurring colored chemicals. So, organic pigments is different from inorganic. It's because organic pigments are usually bright, pure, light in weight, and rich in tinting strength. While the inorganic pigments naman, it tend to be dry ground minerals. They can contain metals and are often opaque, while most organic pigments are considered transparent. So that's the end of my report.
Stan is the recorder of Module 3, Lesson 3, the color and value. So my report.
Good morning, everyone. My topic is all about physical properties of colors and neutrals. Color has been with us since the day we were born and it will be with us until the day we die. A simple tweak of color could give your image an entire new symbolic or literal meaning to your image. Knowledge of color is not just a factor needed to color grade sufficiently. Many are adequate with color grading and color correcting and will likely know their way around basic correction software. Understanding physical properties of colors will not only assist you in post, but it will help you set with design, costumes, lighting, and so much more. As mentioned by the reporter before me, the presence of color is dependent on light and its sources. Therefore, it follows the color is found on the spectrum band and is not a physical property of any object. However, let it be understood that every object has its color quality, which constitutes three physical properties. So the first physical properties of color is the hue. Where we identify you as a familiar color's name, such as blue, which represents a particular wavelength of visible light. It is of the wavelength's dominance that produce a particular hue. Simply put, hue describes the wavelengths of colors. If science class is nothing but a distant memory and this talk of wavelengths has you tangled in a nostalgic web, here's a quick recap of the science of color wavelengths. Human eyes can only process a tiny region of electromagnetic spectrum. We call this visible light. Part of the electromagnetic spectrum is measured in nanometers, and the color we can see fall between 400 to 700 nanometers. Violet light and blue light have the shortest wavelengths and become scattered a lot easier in comparison with red, which has the longest visible wavelength of 635 to 700 nanometers. It is important to note that hues are not just light at one wavelength. Blue does not exist because the other wavelengths have ceased from the light spectrum. Each hues contain the entire array of wavelengths found in visible light, but one will be more dominant than the other, which creates the distinct hue. Therefore, a hue is a founding dimension of a color determined by wavelength. In short, hue is just the base color. Next, we have the value or the lightness. Value measures the degree of light reflected, how light or dark a color is. Adding white makes the color lighter, which it turns creates tints, and adding black makes it darker and creates shades. The effect of value is relative to other components in the composition. The third physical properties of color is the intensity, also referred to as saturation or the chroma. It refers to the degree of purity of a color. A highly intense color is bright and the low intensity color is more neutral or muted. Colors are at their purest when they are straight out of the tube, not mixed with another color. As soon as you mix in another color, you have lowered the intensity of both colors mixed. Learning how to vary the intensity of a color gives you control over color choices and creates beautiful color effects. A color's intensity always diminishes when it gets mixed with another color. The farther apart on the color wheel the two colors you are mixing are, the more the intensity of the both color diminish. Then let's jump to the neutrals. Some objects are in black, white, or gray, which do not appear in any of the colors in the spectrum band. These are no color quality found in them. However, they merely differ in the quantity of light or the value which is reflected from them. Since they are not distinguished as any color, these tones are known as the neutrals. But in science, these so-called neutrals actually reflect all the color waves in a given ray of light. White may be called as the total addition of color since it reflects all the light in the equal degree, while black is usually identified with absence of colors because it results to the absorbing all colors in the surface, reflecting none. In absolute black, or as rarely seen, reflected no light at all and consequently it has no color. While in any gray, it may be considered as impure white because it partially reflects all the color waves in the spectrum. When the quantity of light is reflected, the gray is light. Correspondingly, if little quantity of light is reflected, then there will be a darker gray. Thus, neutrals are basically affected by the quantity of light reflected whereas colors is concerned with the quality of the light reflected. And I guess that would be all. Thank you for listening.
Course will focus about the topic color relationship color, and its basic usage. So, but before that, I have prepared a video presentation wherein this video presentation will discuss on how this person able to come up with a color wheel, and this experimentation also proves that his theory about the source of colors comes from light. This is Sir Isaac Newton. So Sir Isaac Newton is the first person who invented the color wheel, and he is able to, as said before in the report, as said previously, that the source of color comes from light, and this is how Sir Isaac Newton proves his hypothesis. Okay, so this color wheel, according to Google, color wheel is an invention and discovery during the scientific revolution. Color wheel is a visual presentation of colors. Yes, a visual presentation of colors wherein blue, indigo, violet, red, orange, yellow, and green. So it is a visual presentation of colors. Also, a color wheel is arranged in accordance to wavelength. Yes, a color wheel is arranged in accordance to wavelength. Makikita natin sa screen. The blue is the number A, which means that blue has a higher wavelength, followed by indigo, followed by violet, and then red, orange, yellow, and green. So, makikita natin, they were in letters, nakaletter sila, tapos they were in a sequence in accordance to their wavelength. And then also, a color wheel, it is the relationship of color in a color wheel. Yes, we have these primary colors, secondary colors, and tertiary colors.
Witches, but also it was a country where science, where rational thought, where reason were beginning to flower. Now, at the time, one of the great questions was about the nature of light. It was known that if you take a prism and shine sunlight through it, then it splits that sunlight into all the colours of the rainbow. The question was why? Now, the prevailing scientific view was that sunlight must be perfect. This dated all the way back to Aristotle and the ancient Greeks. How could something that comes from the heavens be anything other than perfect? The common explanation for the appearance of the colours was that they were impurities added by the prism to the pure white light. Newton thought that the colours were already present in the white sunlight. But what set Newton apart was the fact that he devised and performed an experiment to test his hypothesis. First, he made a rainbow by shining white light through a prism. Then, and here's the genius, he introduced a slit into that rainbow beam, and that allowed him to isolate a particular colour of light and shine that into a second prism. Then he looked for the deflection of the coloured light onto his wall. You can see that over there. Now, look what happens when I move the red light across the slit to the green light. On the wall, what you see is green light into the prism equals green light out. Now, that implies that the colours themselves are pure. The prism is not adding or subtracting anything. That means that Newton's hypothesis was shown to be correct. The colours themselves are the basic building blocks of light, and white light is made up of all those individual colours. That's genius.
Okay, so we have this one, complementary colors. Complementary colors and the opposite color of warm and cool colors on the wheel. So makikita natin sa screen, may arrow. And yung arrow is naka-front siya sa yellow and violet. We should always remember na yung complementary colors is a combination of a warm color and cool colors. Okay, and this complementary colors, when added or when used together, no, they're not added, when used together, this color often look bold and draw attention by using high contrast. For example, since it is opposite, yung complementary colors, opposite siya. So, we have this one, yung nakikita natin, yung arrow, naka-front siya sa color yellow and violet. Along with, since a warm color and cool colors were used together, we have orange and blue, and red and green. So, they are opposite. And when used together, magkakaroon siya ng bold na effect na yung it will attract our eyes. No, this will look bold and draw attention. Magkaka-attract. vibe because of its high contrast. So for example, like you're attending an event and you're going to choose what type of color of shorts or pants or dress you are going to choose. And for you to give an idea, for example like yung pants mo is kulay orange. And you're trying to know ano yung ipapares mo sa kulay orange. So the best thing to choose is color blue. And color blue yung pipiliin mo na ipapares mo sa pants mo. And that makes a good emphasis to the choice that you are making. So through this, yung orange na yung blue na combination, yung nagamit mo, this will look gold. Yung parang mas light, yung mas attract siya because of its high contrast. Also, is how complementary colors use. So, for us to be able to understand properly, I have prepared a video wherein iintindihan niyo talaga yung complementary colors.
What are complementary colors? Not to be confused with the word complement spelled with an I, a complement is something that completes or makes another thing better. A complement enhances something else. It either improves it or emphasizes its quality. The art, complementary colors are pairs of colors that when used together create high contrast. Contrast is simply the arrangement of opposite elements, things that are different. This creates interest in any work of art. Complementary colors lie opposite each other on the color wheel. Today is what should I wear today? I really like the color yellow, but what is the complement of yellow? Remember, complementary colors lie opposite each other on the color wheel. Here's a hint. You should be able to draw a straight line through the center of the two colors, just like this. So, the complement of yellow is purple. Now, what if I would like to wear an orange t-shirt? Begin by drawing a straight line through the color orange. That's right, blue is the complement of orange. Green is my favorite color. What is the complement of green? Yes, red is the complement of green. These are the basic complementary colors using the primary and secondary colors only. Here are the other pairs of complementary colors: yellow-green and red-purple, blue-green and red-orange, and yellow-orange and blue-purple. Now, let's take a look at the pairs of complementary colors. When complementary colors are placed next to each other, they appear brighter. This allows parts of your artwork to stand out, thus grabbing the viewer's attention. In other words, complementary colors behave like best friends. They are better together. Here's how. A pair of complementary colors is made up of one warm color and one cool color. For example, yellow is a warm color and purple is a cool color. No matter the pair, one color will always be warm and the other will be cool. These colors have opposite temperatures. This creates high contrast. Let's take a look at the basic complementary colors. These pairs of colors have the greatest level of contrast. Not only are they thermal opposites, they are also opposites based on how they are mixed. Red is a primary color and green is a secondary color. There is no red in the color green, only yellow and blue. This means that when they are placed next to each other, red does not have to compete with another red-based color, like purple or orange. The same thing applies to the other pairs of basic complementary colors. Complementary colors can be used to create shadows. Using a color's complementary color creates a more realistic shadow instead of using black or gray. If you are painting a banana or a lemon, instead of going straight to the black paint, use a little purple. If you're painting an orange, add some blue. And if you're painting an apple, use some green. Let's look at some artworks where complementary colors have been used. First up, we have a painting by Vincent van Gogh. What stands out when you look at this picture? The yellow sun and sky pop out from behind the purple mountain range.
As shown in the video, complementary colors are useful also when we are trying to add, or when we are trying to use or to pair colors according to their distinct emphasis, na mas bibigyan nito ng bold yung high contrast na makaka-attract sa isang viewer. Also, applying complementary color technique is a very useful, particularly when doing a drawing and when doing a painting. Yes, complementary colors are useful also. Okay, so 3.4.2, primary colors. Primary color are pure and cannot be created mixing other colors. Okay, primary colors also, first, is set of colors that produces other colors. So, itong primary colors, it's just like they become the mothers of all colors. Mothers, parents of our colors, the secondary colors and tertiary colors. And because of these primary colors, nabuo yung color wheel. Diba? Since, yung primary colors are the source of all secondary and tertiary colors. The primary colors are blue, yellow, and red. And also, secondary colors. Secondary colors is a result of the mixture of two primary colors. They are next to primary colors, and these secondary colors are green, violet, and orange. Okay, so there is a relationship talaga na nangyayari. And then blue plus yellow, when the primary colors are added, like blue plus yellow, it will result into a green color. And when yellow plus red, it will result into orange. And when red plus blue, it will result into violet. So tertiary colors. Tertiary colors are the combination of primary and secondary colors together. Yes, tertiary colors are the combination of primary and secondary colors. And these colors are yellow-orange, yellow-green, blue-green, blue-violet, red-violet, red-orange. So those are the 6 different kinds of tertiary colors. So as seen in the screen, when the secondary color orange and primary color yellow added, this will result in tertiary color yellow-orange. And when orange is added in the red, which is the primary, this will result in a tertiary color red-orange. And when the red added in violet is secondary color, this will result in the red-violet, and so on. Okay, so tertiary colors. Tertiary colors are the combination of primary and secondary colors together. Yes, tertiary colors are the combination of primary and secondary colors. And these colors are yellow-orange, yellow-green, blue-green, blue-violet, red-violet, red-orange. So those are the 6 different kinds of tertiary colors. So as seen in the screen, when the secondary color orange and primary color yellow added, this will result in tertiary color yellow-orange. And when orange is added in the red, which is the primary, this will result in a tertiary color red-orange. And when the red added in violet is secondary color, this will result in the red-violet, and so on. And so color and its basic usage tools to our lives and to an artwork process will greatly influence in colors. What are its usage? What are its importance? First, color is utilized pictorial field. So, yung color daw, meron siyang essentials siya, particularly in the pictorial field. Kasi nagbibigay siya ng quality. Halimbawa, when you are taking a picture, diba? Take picture on something, and then suddenly, to give it more, to improve the color, to improve the background and the color of the picture, you're going to edit it to make it more aesthetically beautiful. And that is how color is important, particularly in pictorial field. Another one is color may create mood. And color as a vehicle of expression. Actually, yes, color may create mood kasi because of its characteristic. Diba? For example, like you are having an adventure, and you saw or see a beautiful trees, a beautiful greeny grass, different colors of color of the sun, different colors of trees, the nature. Then color, instead of being lonely, it's sometimes that colors gives you comfort. Yes, just like color gives you comfort instead of being lonely. Parang kasama mo yung color sa paglalakbay mo. Parang hindi ka nag-iisa. Parang, yes, kasi in reality din, based on my experience din, while traveling, it's just like you are not lonely enough. Just like parang kasama mo yung nature, diba? Because of its color. Instead na magiging lonely ka, you're lonely, habang tumitingin ka sa paligid mo sa yung nature, it's like kasama mo sila. It's because of colors. Diba? It creates your mood. Another one is color as a vehicle of expressing individuals' emotions and feelings. Yes, it is true. Diba? It is because of its meaning. For example, black. You tend to wear black because you're sad. Or you tend to wear black because you're broken. Diba? And that color expressed emotions. Also feelings. For example, it is a Valentine's Day. So you're wearing red. And that is how color express emotions and feelings because of their individual characteristic that is trying to portray into the viewers yung characteristic ng isang color na nais iparating sa mga viewers. And that is why also, when making an artwork piece, it is not just because you're choosing this color because you like it, but it is choosing the color that will gives or evoke emotions that you seek from the audience, diba? In choosing the tone of color, it is a very essential on how your clients, customers feel about your artworks, diba? And choosing the color combination is not about choosing the color that you like, but it's about colors that evokes the emotions that you seek from the audience. And yes, I have said kanina the example. And also, color is used to invite and attract and guide attention or eye movement over activities and organization or composition. Yes, colors attract us because of colors. Diba? Parang naiintriga tayo na parang we are intended to engage. Gusto natin sumali because of the color. And also, kailangan na in color there is a proper composition and a proper organization, the proper mixture relationship of one color into another colors para mas attract yung artwork piece mo. And number 5 is color helps complete aesthetic appeals through an organized color composition. Yes. Yung color, walang emphasis, hindi maganda yung kinalalabasan ng artwork piece mo kung walang buhay na nagbibigay nito. And the only one who gives life to your artwork piece is the color. It kahit anong ganda nung artwork piece, kung wala itong color, parang walang buhay. That is why color helps complete aesthetic appeal. Pero kailangan, di ba? Kailangan na through an organized color composition. Hindi basta-basta ka na lang kukuha ng mga colors and then add it into your artwork. It is that the proper usage of color relationship into an artwork to make it more aesthetically beautiful. Okay, so color helps complete aesthetic appeal. And also number 6, color is used to identify objects through its superficial appearance. Okay, so to summarize, color is important, particularly in the pictorial field. Color creates mood, yes. Color express individuals' emotions and feelings. Okay, so color also, it's not just on expressing individuals' emotions and feelings, but it can be also a sign of signal. For example, like red in a highway traffic light. When red, kung pag red light na, it means it's danger. So you're not able to walk by because it is dangerous. Ibig sabihin na yung mga sasakyan muna. And when it's green, then you are able to go by, to walk on the street safely. And also, in short, color is also an expression of signal, emotions, and feelings. Okay, color is used to invite and attract us. Color helps to complete the aesthetic appeal of artwork or aesthetic appeal of nature. And also, color is used to identify objects through its superficial appearance.
Good day everyone, my name is Harvey Borja and I will discuss the value and its relation to other elements and what is chiaroscuro. So first, what is value? A quality or a value of light and dark of a certain shade or tone, closely linked to color, forming part of one of the characteristics of how color can be applied in artwork. This design element is best understood if visualized as a scale or a gradient, refers to the relative lightness or darkness of the central compositional elements in a design. Depending on the amount of white and black within a certain hue, the color appears lighter and darker. The values near the lighter end of the scale spectrum are termed high K, while those on the darker end are low K. It can be confused with color intensity and saturation. For example, a low-intensity color could appear lighter because of its dullness and a similarity. A high-intensity color could appear darker because of its brightness. Encountering visual experiences in art, specifically colors in plastic and graphic arts, in every visual arts, colors have a major presence on it that should be distinguished into two parts or level, the chromatic and achromatic colors. When we say chromatic colors, those color scheme include all shades except for black, white, and their mixture gray. Their properties include colors in which only particular wavelength of light dominates, colors that have even the slightest saturation or vividness, and or colors that are pure colors or hues, for example, blue, green, yellow, red, and etc. Chromatic colors are one where there is only one particular wavelength that predominates. These would be colors like blue and green, hues in this spectrum. They are referred to as pure colors. Chromatic colors can help create a striking an image. They can be found everywhere. While in a chromatic color, all the shades of black, white, and gray, and this scheme features colors that contain all wavelengths of light within them, colors that have no saturation or vividness, and or colors that have no dominant hue. For example, white, black, and gray. You will find a chromatic color schemes in many places. It is used in contemporary decorating, professional photography, and advertising. An achromatic color scheme offers a simplicity and cleanliness that you can only find with gray, black, and white combination. The popularity of an achromatic color scheme in the kitchen has made materials like granite commonplace in decorating. So, how values affect colors? The effects of value on color identity can be seen in painting that use a value priority or color priority system. A value priority system relies primarily on exaggerated value contrast to create the illusion of light and evoke a sense of drama. This approach was used to great effect by the old masters of chiaroscuro. The subject was highlighted in an artwork. How do we see value in art? The artist's manipulation of all the art elements is crucial to the understanding of the produced artwork. It is also relevant in the debate about value in art, and the arena of black and white photography artwork is frequently used to best illustrate the value in action. It is here that one can best visualize how the infinity variation of gray suggests plane and textures, and how through this, the idea of the value defined through contrast is achieved. Artists such as the Impressionist painter Claude Monet and James Abbott Macknell-Wessler chose to concentrate on various ends of the color values. Various landscape paintings by Monet were created with the manipulation of high K color values, giving the image an atmosphere of vibrant energy and of life. In the example image, Madame Monet and her son is one of the painting of Monet. In contrast, the atmosphere of the famous painting Wessler's Mother, or arrangement in gray black number 1, was created with the use of low K values of color. The subject of the painting is Wessler's mother, Anna Macknell-Wessler. Both of the examples illustrate just how crucial is the element of value for the creation of the atmosphere and of a certain narrative of an image. Value in art has another definition as well. Apart from the technical aspect of the value in art, the value can also refer to the sentimental, cultural, or ritualistic importance of the work. Relation to value to other elements. It doesn't specify the other elements of the site, but it centered to the whole intact artwork. So here, the relation of values to other elements. Value is one of the basic building blocks of any artwork. It gives an artwork its form and depth. You can use it to create various effects. By understanding the value range in your artwork and using different values correctly, you can create a visually appealing and accurate work. The second one, value range can add interest and complexity in artwork. Value range is the difference in lightness and darkness of tones in an artwork. A wide value range usually adds more interest and complexity to painting, while a limited value range can make it look simpler. Value can create a mood or feeling in an artwork. This value of color can also create a mood or feeling in an artwork. Dark values can create a feeling of darkness and mystery, while light values can create a sense of happiness and joy. Value can be used to create unity in an artwork. If all the values are similar, it can make the painting look more cohesive and unified. Value can add visual interest to an artwork. If you have a painting mostly one color, you can use value to add interest and variety to the piece. How are values created in art? Values are created using various methods, but the most common is by using a value scale. The value scale is simply a range of values from light to dark. You can use that to create the illusion of light and shadow. The image presented is the example of value scale. In two-dimensional artworks, the application of value can help in giving a shape the illusions of mass or volume, or it can give the intercomposition a sense of lighting depth. It is a well-known fact that the best way to attract the eye is to place the lightest element against a dark element. This not only creates the focal point of interest, but it can produce a dramatic effect. In Baroque painting, the technique of chiaroscuro, literally meaning light and dark in Italian, was applied to produce highly dramatic effects. Many of you might ask, what is chiaroscuro? I mentioned earlier that in value affects the color, it approaches the use of the chiaroscuro in some way. So, let's go on deeper. What is chiaroscuro? Chiaroscuro is an artistic technique that creates pronounced contrast between areas of light and dark within a composition. The image pointed with it is the example of chiaroscuro technique. As you can see, the use of strong contrast between light and dark, usually bold contrast affecting a whole composition. It is also a technical term used by artists and art historians for the use of contrast of light to achieve a sense of volume in modeling three-dimensional objects and figures. Chiaroscuro painting technique has evolved beyond paintings to gain popularity with artists across many disciplines. So here, the example painting is The Adoration of the Magi in 1481 by Leonardo da Vinci. Some evidence exists that ancient Greek and Roman artists used chiaroscuro effects, but in European painting, the technique was first brought to its full potential by Leonardo da Vinci in the late 15th century in such painting as his Adoration of the Magi. Thereafter, chiaroscuro became a primary technique for many painters, and by the late 17th century, the term was routinely used to describe any painting, drawing, or print that depended for its effect on an extensive gradation of light and darkness. The term chiaroscuro comes from the Italian words chiaro meaning clear or light, and scuro meaning dark. The definition of chiaroscuro as it relates to painting has varied over time, but it almost always corresponds with high contrast sections of light and dark within a single canvas. So let's discuss the brief history of chiaroscuro. The use of chiaroscuro predates the existence of the Italian term, as high contrast paintings have existed over many centuries of visual art. As a formal concept, chiaroscuro traces its roots to the Italian Renaissance. So here, the Renaissance origins. The formal concept of chiaroscuro emerged during the 15th and 16th century Italian Renaissance. In that era, artists used chiaroscuro effects in monochrome ink drawing, in two-color grisaille drawings, and in watercolor paintings. Chiaroscuro woodcuts also enjoyed a popularity. Chiaroscuro expands in Baroque era. While formal chiaroscuro began during the Renaissance, its use dramatically expanded during the Baroque period of European art. The Italian Baroque master Caravaggio developed a dramatic chiaroscuro technique known as tenebrism, where subjects appear bathed in a spotlight due to intense chiaroscuro lighting and inky black backdrops. Speaking of Baroque era, such a technique is defined by a clear tonal contrast exemplified by a very high key whites, placed directly against very low key darks. Since candlelit scenes were extremely popular in Baroque painting, many masters of the past turned to this technique. The most famous, of course, is Caravaggio. Who is Caravaggio? Caravaggio, or Michelangelo Merisi, was an Italian painter who is considered one of the fathers of modern painting. Caravaggio was a controversial and influential Italian artist. He was orphaned at the age of 11 and apprenticed with a painter in Milan. He moved to Rome, where his work became popular for the tenebrism technique he used, which used shadow to emphasize light areas. His career, however, was short-lived. Caravaggio killed a man during a brawl and fled Rome. He died not long after, on July 18, 1610. Relying on the high contrast between the colors of his palette, he created some of the most effective and dramatically charged paintings, such as the Denial of Saint Peter. It depicts Peter denying Jesus after Jesus was arrested. The painting is housed in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in the New York City. Let's move on to the three famous works that use the chiaroscuro technique. Judith beheading Holofernes by Caravaggio. The shock and drama of the scene from the Deuterocanonical book of Judith becomes all the more intense due to Caravaggio's tenebrism, which draws full focus to gruesome beheading. Samson and Delilah by Peter Roll Rubens. In this large-scale work based on the famous Bible story of Samson and Delilah, Rubens uses chiaroscuro to accent the bodily perfection of his subject. Self-portrait with buried and turned-up color by Rembrandt. It is one of the many self-portraits that Rembrandt painted over his career, but the dramatic lighting of particularly pronounced in this piece. Chiaroscuro isn't only used for painting, but also it was used in the field of filmmaking and photography. Chiaroscuro is used in cinematography for extreme low-key and high-contrast lighting to create distinct areas of light and darkness in films, especially in black and white films. Chiaroscuro in film media also embraces the use of light and dark as a source of drama and storytelling. The chiaroscuro lighting technique is used in film to create a profound darkness that encompasses the character to bring about a sense of depth. Perhaps the most direct use of chiaroscuro in filmmaking is Stanley Kubrick's 1975 film, The Barry Lyndon. The particular scene on the image presented only uses candlelight that gives a low lighting effect on the scenes. That makes the use of chiaroscuro technique. In the other image presented, those black and white movies created from the past have the chiaroscuro effect on it. In photography, chiaroscuro can be achieved by using Rembrandt lighting. In more highly developed photographic processes, the technique may be termed ambient or natural lighting, although when done so far for the effect, the look is artificial and not generally documentary in nature. In photography, the chiaroscuro lighting technique can be defined as highly contrast lighting. You can use the extremes of dark and light to create an arresting image. It can be used in color or black and white photography. That's all for value and its relation to other elements of design and defining what is chiaroscuro. Conclusion. Color plays an important role in our lives. Color is a source of pleasure to everybody. Colors can change the mood, reduce or increase tensions, cause excitement, and sometimes have a soothing effect for a tired person. Also, we can determine things well. For example, in mango, we can determine if that mango is ripe or unripe. Value also plays an important role in communicating the mood and the setting within the pictorial space. Value in art should be simple to understand. However, the inclusion of color can make a challenging concept to grasp. It helps us to determine and express ourselves and understand what is that certain emotion that you could get from that certain painting or artwork. That's all. Thank you.